Hi, I'm Stephen Goh. I'm founder and CEO of Proxico. Today, I want to give a quick demo to what Proxico is. In general, Proxico is it's two products, right? There is Proxico API and LinkDB, and they're usually used in tandem together. So Proxico API provides enrichment services with regards to data that software engineers can integrate into their service. In general, it takes an input. The API takes an input and returns rich and fresh data in output. Proxico API is commonly used to power applications that require rich and fresh data. LinkDB, on the other hand, is a huge data set, hundreds of millions of public LinkedIn profiles from people all around the world and also companies globally. And LinkDB is commonly used to power applications related to search, modeling, or the AI. In general, we are a good fit for 4 different niches, right? If you're a growth stage startup, you could be using us for building a huge exhaustive list of ICPs, right? Ideal customer profiles for outreach at scale. And not just that, right? You don't want just outreach at scale, with cold, spammy emails. You want to personalize every email with fresh data. And you can do that with Proxico. Now, all the other one is the VC or investment related companies. You could be using Proxico to identify and monitor prospective founders, such as somebody from Stanford. So these are founders who have not started a company but might be starting a company. On the other hand, you could also be you have a list of companies that you're already tracking, or you want to increase this list. Sure, you can do that with Proxico, right? And on top of that, you can monitor these companies to see when they're starting to grow really fast. When they hit the inflection curve, you want to be the first one to reach out to them with metrics such as employee count, followers, or job posting count. The next niche is HR tech companies. So if you're looking to source for prospective applicants, now Proxico, with its huge data set of exhaustive LinkedIn profiles, you're able to do a very in-depth search of almost everyone on LinkedIn. On the other hand, you could also try to enrich CVs automatically at scale. Suppose you have 10,000 people that you want to get the CVs of, and you don't want to format PDFs into structured data. You can use our API to just pull the data from LinkedIn. Or you could be just getting personal contact data of each of these prospective applicants to reach out to them privately in a personal email. Lastly, there's the sales and marketing companies. Usually with sales and marketing companies, you're looking to identify buy signals, such as when suppose your company have sold to CTO at company A, and CTO moves to company B. You want to reach out to company B as soon as possible, to the CTO at company B as soon as possible, so that you can get them to buy a product for company B as soon as possible, right? And then there is you could also be using Proxico to personalize cold emails. We have quite a few companies who are using our fresh data to personalize cold emails at scale, or to power search applications. For example, Reply.io is one of our customers, and they bought the huge data sets from us to power their prospecting feature. In general, if you're one of the 4 niches I mentioned above, and you happen to have a data science team or software engineers in your team, there's a good chance, right, that you're replicating whatever Proxico has already done, and you can save and you can just use Proxico straight out of the box. So let's go into a quick demo, right? So I'm going to show you a demo. So here, let's look at what Proxico can do for you. Now we have a long list of API endpoints. I won't go into every of them, but I'll tell you, the important ones that you should take note of. So here we have the person profile endpoint. Person profile endpoint takes either a LinkedIn profile URL, a Twitter profile URL, or a Facebook profile URL, and they try to identify the person behind it, and it returns rich and fresh data about that person. So in this case, I'm trying to get I have a LinkedIn profile URL with Bill Gates, right? And I'm trying to, and in 4 seconds, I get data of him back. Okay, so you figure out that everything is well structured in JSON format that you can use within your application. Now, on top of that, you can also track this profile for changes, right? Now, you want to know if Bill Gates decided to change job. He's no longer Bill Melinda Gates. He's back in Microsoft. How do you do that? We have this cache, this parameter, use cache if recent. What happens is that if you use this, you return you fresh profiles that are no older than 29 days. So let's try to get it again. And what you do is you do this every month, and you'll be able to get a fresh profile of Bill Gates every month. And you do this for thousands, if not millions of profiles at scale, every month. Doesn't matter, right? That's how companies use us. Now, what if you don't have this person's profile that you're trying to, what if you do not have the LinkedIn profile URL or any other social media profile URL of the person you're looking for? So I'll give you an example. What we have is a person lookup endpoint. The person lookup endpoint takes in a few things, right? It can give you, if you have a first name or where he's working at. In general, these are two necessary parameters: the first name and where he's working at. In this case, this is Bill Gates information we filled up. First name Bill, last name Gates, working at Gates Foundation. So let's check for it, right? See if it returns Bill Gates. Oh, there it goes, and it returns Bill Gates. Now there's a chance that it might return a false positive. That's why we include some similarity checks so you can confirm that this is indeed the right person. Now, what about companies? You can do that not just for people but also for companies. In this case, let's look at Apple. So we know that Apple is apple.com. That's the domain. But how do you find the LinkedIn profile URL? So in this case, with apple.com, I send it. Right. Immediately, I get a list of his profile, LinkedIn profile URL. Okay, and all the data about it. We know that he has almost 276,000 people working at in Apple. We know that it's based in US, Cupertino. We know his address, what it specializes at, when it is founded, whether it's a public or private company, things like that. What if you want? What if you have a list of 10,000 of such companies? You can do that all at scale, with our API. On top of that, and what if you want to just get the profile picture to be displayed within your application? Well, we have this is a free API endpoint called a company profile picture endpoint. It takes a LinkedIn profile URL of the company, and then, bam, it returns the logo. It's free entirely. You can see it loads up the logo, right? Yeah. Now, as a VC, you might want to track companies. For example, let's talk about recruitment platforms founded after 2020, based in the US. So, if you're a VC that invests in that could be interesting to you. So what we have is a company search endpoint. Here, we said that, founded after year 2020, with a description, it must include recruitment platform within its description, and is based in the US. So here, I've already done a search, and it's a list of recruitment platforms. So let's look at a few, right? If you open this up, JobRx, it's a recruitment platform for medical stuff. There's also Soul Search Partners, building executive teams in digital health. My point is, if you're a VC, this is how we can be building a list of companies to track, right? So on and so forth. Now, what if you want to identify people to hire? Now you're in HR tech company, you want to find people to hire. Well, not a problem, right? There is a person search endpoint, which you can do the same for. You can do the same for what you did with companies, but for people. In this case, I'm trying to search for people who are currently working in Stripe, Apple, Google, Meta, or Salesforce, with a current job title of account executive. Basically, I want to poach people who are AEs, account executives in the big tech companies in US. Right? So we found a few. We found more than 100 actually. Let's see how many. Oh, in fact, we found 4,594 people. But that's too many. We just listed 100. And now that we found some, we can click into a few to check it out. Let's click on the first one. Ava, she's an account executive at Salesforce. And then there is Nick, who's an account executive at Salesforce as well, right? Now, because you're a HR, you want to poach people like that. Usually you'll be trying to get an email address, the contact email to reach out to them. In this case, what we have the email address lookup endpoint. So I've entered Nick's LinkedIn profile URL here, and I click send, and immediately return me a list of emails. His past email at IBM and now his current Salesforce email, right? Of course, we don't have email addresses for everyone, but as far as we know, the match rate ranges from between 30 to 50% of profiles based in the US. So yeah, then you see what we have now. We have demonstrated that you're able to get fresh and rich data about people, about companies. You're able to perform searches and all that. What can you do with this data? I'll give you an example. So I think we've talked a bit about how you can customize cold email outreach campaigns with fresh and rich data. Now in this case, now with Nick's profile, and I already got all this public profile data here, right? Now I sent to ChatGPT, but specifically ChatGPT 4. I said, please customize the following email template. So I came up with something, right? With the attached LinkedIn profile data. Okay, and this is a template. Say hi, first name, and you say get something interesting from profile data. Will LinkedIn scripting API be useful for your needs? Steven, which is my name, right? So that's the template, and this is his profile data. So obviously I return it, verbatim, everything. I just copy pasted everything here. In one try, this is the data I got back. Hi Nick, I noticed your extensive experience in government roles, especially your current position as account executive at for state, local government at Salesforce. Well, given your experience in CRM and cloud computing, will LinkedIn scripting API potentially streamline your process in identifying so on and so forth? What do you think? So now we've completely automated, customized this, right? ChatGPT has an API for which you can do this at scale as well. So yeah, with ChatGPT and fresh data, you're able to perform a lot of customization at scale, right? Well, it brings me to the last part. So we talked a bit about Proxico API. What about LinkDB? Well, it happens that LinkDB, because it's such an exhaustive profile data set, we've actually used it to power some of our applications. So I'm going to give you some demo, right, as to what LinkDB can do. So I actually haven't tested it out yet, so I'm going to try it as it is. So one thing you can do for prospecting, you're able to list employees of any company. We're not scraping this from LinkedIn at all. So this is a LinkedIn employee listing endpoint, for Microsoft. So you can sort by recently joined people who recently joined Microsoft. And I have no idea what output is. Who are currently working there, not as a co-founder, of course, in the US. So let's send it, right? The first 100 people who have recently joined Microsoft based in the US. Let's see what it gets. It's taking a while. Yeah, there you go. So let's see if these people are working at Microsoft. Yeah, account executive at Microsoft. Next person. Are they recent though? Let's see if they're recent. Oh, well, present 1 month. Right. So we actually look at latest job entry. See, present 1 month old. So we're able to get very recent people who just joined Microsoft. Right. Also 1 month old. So yeah, as you can see, LinkDB contains relatively fresh data. Exhaustive. For US, we have 260 million people in LinkDB, and you're able to get perform things like finding employees of a certain company, or perform searches like what a company search endpoint, which I showed you earlier, and also people search. All those are powered by LinkDB, right? If you want such an application within your product, reach out to us and we can provide you with LinkDB. Anyways, that's a short demo about Proxico. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions about Proxico, feel free to reach out to us at hello@nubella.co, and our sales executives will actually reach out to you and try to help you with what your needs. Thank you so much.